Hello, thank you for joining me, ladies. Today, Bezrat Hashem, we're going to learn effective communication. What is the first step of effective communication? In order to communicate successfully, it is important to be a good listener. How do we know this? Hashem, our creator, gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth in order that we listen before we speak, listen thoroughly before we speak. How many times in our relationships do we feel that the person who we're speaking to isn't understanding us? Learning to be good listeners, even if it is one of us, can save us from many disagreements. So let's learn the art of effective communication. In order to communicate effectively, the first step, as we just spoke about, entails that we need to be a better listener. There are 3 types of listeners. The first listener is a competitive listener. This type of listener already has a combat in their minds. In other words, they're ready to go to war. They will find reasons to fight, and even though they look like they're listening to you, they're actually preparing the next statement that they're going to tell you. They're busy preparing a comeback. They're anxious to have their perspective win the argument. They're very assertive and can be a preacher. And the person listens only for the opportunity to get a strong comeback statement. This is the competitive listener. The second type of listener is the passive listener. The passive listener looks like they're listening. The passive listener assumes that they will understand what is being said at the end of the conversation. They're very calm, and there's not much interaction. They look like they're pretty much sitting there. They sit quietly absorbing the information, or look like they're absorbing the information. A person addressing the passive listener is left wondering, am I really being heard? Is this person really understanding me? The third type of listener is the most effective listener. It's called the active listener. The active listener is the most effective type of listener. It chooses a time when they are not preoccupied, when they are completely attentive towards the person who's speaking, and when they are not self-absorbed or half asleep. It gives this person gives their physical attention, full physical attention, and full mental attention. It engages the speaker. It shows the body language and facial expression to show interest. The active listener questions and reflects back to make sure that they understand what the speaker is saying. They're not judgmental of the words or the speaker. The active listener is not focused on their own point of view. The active listener really hopes to understand the speaker. The goal of the active listener is to make the speaker feel good. In turn, the listener also feels good. The active listener walks away with a feeling of, I just had a successful conversation. And the person who's speaking to them feels that I feel that I'm just so much better understood. And the active listener feels that in a way that, I just got a chance to understand this person so much better than I have before. Let's think about it. Don't we all want to be heard? This information was inspired by Hani Huravel, a psychotherapist. Bezrat Hashem, may we merit to have a successful communication as we enhance our skills in the art of listening. Leah Abramov, Being and Becoming.